Greetings historians, welcome to Lore of the Dragon. Today I'm going to be bringing up something I haven't seen talked about much, and while the details I'm going to be talking about are a bit small, it's more something that I believe helps to enrich the world of Spyro. So mainly I'm just going to be going off observations I've seen myself. Now this stems of course from something that is a rather large part of the original Spyro trilogy, and also the Skylanders lore, with this object, or rather technology, playing a pretty important part in each series. These would be the portals, the magical gateways that connect the lands of the Dragon Realms, Avalar, the various worlds of the original trilogy, and of course, part of the Skylands. So for this topic, today I'm going to be trying to cover what we know about portals, how they work, which will mainly be for people who haven't played the Spyro games or the Skylanders games, their power source, and after that I'll be speculating on a few things I noticed while looking into my own findings. Alright, first off, how do portals actually work in Spyro? Well, they are powered by magic, which can come in many forms, as we can see throughout the original Spyro games. First, and I'd say the most well known, would be the portals in the Dragon Realms. Structures in fact powered by the very creatures that built them. For those who don't know, in Spyro, dragons are species that generate magic, and so much of their technology and culture is influenced by magic, giving us the portals we see. However, what stores this magic, at least from what I can tell, is a gem placed at the top of the archway. They're given a coordinate to end at, meaning that when one goes in the portal, they will come out at the designated area, unless something goes wrong of course, which has happened. Now when it comes to different types, there are mainly two. The normal portals we see, and the exit portals, which instead of an archway are a circular platform. And something interesting that was pointed out by the Spyro wiki is that the symbol for the magic element from Skylanders is actually in the middle of this circular platform. However, this is only in the Reignite trilogy. Now throughout Spyro, gems have been seen as mainly a currency, with very few examples of them being used otherwise. But those few examples are more than enough to prove what I have to say here. Gems, as well as being a currency, seem to be able to hold or amplify magic, making them ideal for villains to use them for their own plots. Of course, the larger the gem, the larger amount of magic it could amplify and or hold. This leads me to a place called Winter Tundra in the land of Avalar, which hosts one of the most powerful portals in Spyro, the Super Portal. This portal hosted a gem that was far more massive than most, and was for a short time used to make a scepter for a sorcerer named Ripto. However, after Ripto's swift defeat by Spyro, the gem was returned to the portal, and put back in its rightful place. Now, while the Super Portal seemed to be powered the same way as the Dragon Realm portals, the portal was assisted by other devices, known as talismans and orbs. While the talismans served to charge Avalar's portals, because apparently, much like the dragons themselves, they were actually magical, which does make me think of a few questions I have, which I might save those for another video or even my Twitter. The orbs, from what I can tell, help to store the magic used to power the portals, much like the gems themselves. During Spyro's unintentional visit to Avalar, he would try and collect the talismans and orbs in the hopes of being able to go to a place called Dragon Shores, using the Super Portal's extended range to get there from Avalar once he had activated it, as a normal portal simply didn't have enough power to bring Spyro all that way. Which also indicates something about portals. The larger the gem, or the larger the power source, or even the larger the portal itself, extends the range of, let's say, the portal's range, or how far someone can travel. Which then answers the reason why there are so many portals, and why one just doesn't go to one select area. Or multiple areas. During Year of the Dragon, when the dragon eggs have been stolen by the ruler of the Forgotten Realms, or as she's more commonly known, the Sorceress, Spyro would once again encounter portals much the same as the ones back in the Dragon Realms, but in the case of most of them, they would be deactivated, due to a lack of a power source, or rather magic. However, because of the eggs and Spyro, these portals would start to light up one by one, allowing fast travel throughout the Forgotten Realms, like in the days before they went silent. For the rest of Spyro's adventure after the Year of the Dragon, portals would vary from being prominent to almost never being used outside of traveling to very specific locations. Which leads us to Skylanders. When it comes to Skylanders, portals are really shown in one capacity: the Portal of Power. This portal was the main method of transporting the Skylanders from Earth, where they had been marooned by their arch enemy known as Chaos. Once they were placed back on the portal by a portal master, they would be sent back to the Skylands and be brought back to life to fight against chaos and bring peace to the Skylands. However, in some cases, the portal of power isn't enough. In fact, in certain scenarios, creatures from within the Skylands have to assist using magic to bring the Skylanders back to the Skylands. This detail, though, would only be in the 3DS version of Skylander games, while the mainline console versions didn't do so. So there's actually a bit of a divergence in the lore here. So take your pick on which ones you can. Or, in fact, mix them both, if you really want. Now, for some speculation on how portals work in the original timeline, and some of the details I found. So, when it comes to portals and how exactly they function, I think that they could work in two ways. One could be through portals actually being a gateway to something of an alternate dimension, or rather a place that lies between dimensions. Pathways carved out by the portals could be set through this alternate space, but outside those paths might lie a place that we don't even know of. Perhaps this could be an alternate version to Convexity from the Legend of Spyro. This space would be different than the ones we find in the Dragon Realms, with perhaps the laws of nature not applying to this space in particular. A second way that they could work is that, well, they simply just bend space-time through magic, allowing for a longer distance to be traveled over less time. Finally, the last thing I want to mention is a small detail that is really only reignited, and is rather small. But I thought it was worth mentioning, mainly for the fun of it, and mainly because this kind of small stuff gets me a bit excited, especially a certain symbol that keeps popping up throughout the Dragon Realms. When you look into portals, the image of the world you're going to is of course distorted, something that looks as if it's flowing. Perhaps magic, unless it's interacted with, remains in an almost flowing state, glowing and illuminating its surroundings, almost like luminescent water. Perhaps it appears that way because that's just how portal magic looks when it's formed. Whatever it is, whatever the reason, it isn't really known, and it's just a small detail again that I really just wanted to see if anything could be made of it. Now this wraps up the video, but I'm curious to hear how you think portals might be able to function. Maybe you can come up with an idea that I couldn't even think of. If you do have any thoughts, leave them down in the comments section. If you have any theories. Now of course, like at the end of every video, if you want to stay up to date on things Lord of the Dragon related, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. The link will be down in the description. Or alternatively, you can stick around the channel to see lore or speculation videos when they come out. But that's going to be it for me. Hope to see you all in the next lore video. Stay safe, historians.